Good evening and welcome to the news roundup for Friday, March 17. I am Abigail Smythe. Now, before we get into the newscast, please remember to like this video, share your views in the comments, and share the video with your family and your friends.
Teach them! Always make sure the message reach them!
Now for the news in detail. Effective June 1, the national minimum wage will be increased from $9,000 to $13,000 per 40-hour work week. This represents a 44% increase and the largest in 20 years. Prime Minister Andrew Holness made the announcement Thursday afternoon during his contribution to the budget debate at Gordon House. He said the minimum wage for industrial security guards will be increased from $10,500 per week to $14,000, also effective June 1.
We are pleased to announce that starting June 1, 2023, the national minimum wage will increase from $9,000 per 40-hour week to $13,000 per 40-hour week.
Prime Minister Holness said the government was strategic in not imposing new taxes in the trillion-dollar budget in order not to erode the income of Jamaicans. He noted that since assuming office in 2016, the government has increased the minimum wage from $6,200 to $13,000, or a 110% increase in 7 years. He pointed out that the cumulative inflation over the period was less than 50%. He explained that as it relates to security guards, the difference in the national minimum wage and that paid to the guards has narrowed. He said this was strategic as security guards are now classified as workers. The government will be increasing the National Housing Trust NHT's limit by an additional $1 million effective July 1. It will now stand at $7.5 million. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says special dispensation will be given to contributors purchasing homes valued at $12 million or less. They'll be able to access an additional $1 million or $8.5 million total from the NHT. Two persons applying jointly will also be able to access funding of up to $15 million, up from $13 million. The NHT will also reintroduce its policy to allow up to 3 contributors to co-apply for a single NHT scheme unit of 2 bedrooms or larger. However, applicants must prove they are bona fide family members. Also, 3 co-applicants will be able to access funding of up to $21 million, up from $19.5 million. All programs offered by the government-funded Heart NSTA Trust up to Level 4 will be offered free of cost. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says effective April 1, the Heart NSTA Trust will remove all tuition and administrative fees from its programs up to Level 4. He says this is in furtherance of the policy directive to increase the size of the labor force. He adds that this will allow for access to vocational training for all Jamaicans, regardless of economic status. The Prime Minister notes that the training agency has been directed to modernize its offerings to keep pace with the worldwide trend in automation, smart manufacturing, artificial intelligence, and high-value services. He says the Trust is developing centers of excellence and science, technology, engineer, and mathematics, or STEM labs, at some of its locations. The Transport Operators Development Sustainable Services, TODS, is raising concern about the number of operators of public passenger vehicles who have been gunned down since the start of the year. 9 PPV operators have so far been killed, while 57 were killed in the process of transporting passengers last year. The latest victim was shot dead on Thursday along Washington Boulevard in St. Andrew. He is a 38-year-old Courtney Clark of a Seaview Gardens address. According to the police, about 11:25 Thursday morning, Clark was in a white Toyota Probox when he was attacked by two men, one of whom was armed with a firearm. The attacker opened fire, hitting the taxi driver in the upper body. The men then made their escape in the direction of the Sandy Gully. Head of TODS, Edgerton Newman, says the time has come for the authorities and stakeholders in the sector to meet to devise a strategy to protect PPV operators. He also says transport operators must move to a cashless system, get dashboard-mounted cameras and other technology to aid in their safety. Two men were shot, one fatally, on Windward Road in Kingston early Friday morning. The deceased, who remains unidentified, is of dark complexion, slim build, about 5 feet 10 inches, and has a beard. The police say he was clad in a blue t-shirt, gray jeans, black socks, and blue and white Puma sneakers. The Elletson Road police report that about 2:15 a.m. they were alerted to explosions in the area. The men were found with multiple gunshot wounds. They were assisted to hospital where the unidentified man was pronounced dead and the other admitted in serious condition. The police are urging anyone who may be able to assist in identifying the body of the deceased to contact the Elletson Road Police at 876-928-4200, Police 119 emergency number, or the nearest police station. The Sugar Company of Jamaica, SCJ, will be moving to assist residents of Clifton in St. Catherine who were displaced by last year's demolition. The demolition was ordered by Prime Minister Andrew Holness last October. At that time, the Prime Minister stated the structures were built on land designated for farming as part of the Greater Bernard Lodge development. Revealed that the land was sold illegally to unwitting residents by criminals. Prime Minister Holness says one of the victims, Chanel Francis, will be the first to be allotted an alternative plot of land. It is understood that investigators assigned to the Major Organized Crime and Anti-Corruption Agency MOCA and the Financial Investigations Division FID searched the home of former Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Dr. Grace McLean. The operation was confirmed by Major Basil Jarrett of MOCA. Major Jarrett says several items were seized. Both MOCA and the FID have been investigating the circumstances surrounding the transfer of $124 million to the Joint Committee for Tertiary Education, as well as how those monies were spent and accounted for. Attorney representing Dr. McLean, King's Counsel Peter Champagny, says his client strongly denies any impropriety and maintains her innocence. He adds that his client has been cooperating with authorities at every step of the investigation. In business, farmers and other stakeholders are being encouraged to collaborate to explore the full potential of the local castor bean. Minister of State in the Ministry of Transport and Mining, J.C. Hutchinson, who made the call, says there is an opportunity to tap into the high demand for Jamaican black castor oil, noting that the global market for the product is valued at up to $100 million. Mr. Hutchinson says to realize the potential of the local castor bean, Jamaica needs to have a structured program that ensures processors have consistency to supply. Currently, the product, which has gained popularity worldwide, is not a major farm crop in Jamaica. In the region, the Barbados government says it will pay the 3-year-old outstanding severance owed to former employees of Liat, amounting to $10 million. 89 Barbadians were affected when the Antigua-based airline terminated hundreds of its employees from across the region in 2020 without paying severance. The former Liat workers, including pilots, have been demanding the millions of dollars owed in severance and other benefits. In January, the St. Lucia government made good on its promise to pay compensation to former employees of the cash-strapped regional airline. On the international scene, the International Criminal Court says it issued an arrest warrant for Russian President Vladimir Putin for war crimes because of his alleged involvement in abductions of children from Ukraine. The court said in a statement that Putin is allegedly responsible for the war crime of unlawful deportation of children and that of unlawful transfer of children from occupied areas of Ukraine to the Russian Federation. It also issued a warrant for the arrest of the Commissioner for Children's Rights in the office of the President of the Russian Federation on similar allegations. The court's president said that while the ICC's judges have issued the warrants, it will be up to the international community to enforce them. The court has no police force of its own to enforce warrants. A possible trial of any Russians at the ICC remains a long way off, as Moscow does not recognize the court's jurisdiction. And finally, in sports, Reggae Boys goalkeeper Andre Blake and girls striker Khadija Shaw have been nominated for the CONCACAF 2022 Men's and Women's Player of the Year awards. The list of nominees was released on Friday, with both players receiving their second nominations for the top individual prize. Blake is coming off a 2022 club season where he was named MLS Goalkeeper of the Year for a third time in his career. Shaw had a strong 2022 for both club and country, helping the Reggae Girls to qualify for their second consecutive Women's World Cup at the CONCACAF Women's Championships. She scored 3 goals and registered 1 assist, earning a spot on the tournament's best 11 team. For Manchester City, she scored 16 goals in all competitions last season and helped them to win the Continental Cup. Blake was last nominated in 2017, finishing third in the voting, while Shaw was last nominated in 2018, finishing second. Voting ends on April 13, with the majority being determined by coaches and captains of all the Confederation member nations. A small percentage of the vote will be based on fan responses. Fan voting is now open on www.concacaf.com/CONCACAF Awards. And that's it for your news roundup for today and for this week. Please remember to like this video, leave a comment, and share the video with your family and friends. I am Abigail Smythe. Have a good evening, have a great weekend, and see you next time.
Teach them! Hey, yo, hello! Send the message and make it reach them. It's Teach Them, right here. Warlord representing.
Thank you for watching. Like the video before you go. Please subscribe if you haven't done so. And remember to share the video with your friends and family. And browse the channel for more quality content. Until next time, walk good, my friends.
Teach them!